beloved. We are gathered here today for another episode of Super Sexy Slutty Steaks.
Super sexy slutty steaks. Super sexy slutty sexy super slutty steaks.
In the immortal words of Soulja Boy,
I'm back again.
Alright, I'm really hoping he's... Oh shit! Preston! Alright, we're back at Ralph's, our favorite one, with our number one meat handler. Hey. Preston's here, everybody.
As I always say, you can beat our prices, but you can't beat our meat.
Never fear when Preston's here. That was a good time. You know, I know MySpace isn't a thing anymore, but if it was, I feel pretty confident in saying that Preston would be number one in my top 8. Number 2 would probably be the King. Obviously, Robert Nealman would be blocked for multiple reasons that we'll get into later, but... Alright. Seriously though, where did I fucking pour? What's up, all you super sexy slutty chefs out there? I'm Robb Laffoon, and you're watching another episode of the critically acclaimed hit show, Super Sexy Slutty Steaks. Alright, step C, now that we've procured our meat from our pal Preston, which of course was a 1.62 pound USDA prime New York strip, it's gonna be time to get ready for the cooking experience. We're also gonna mix things up this week and cook up a side dish. This isn't something I'm normally into, but I'm trying to keep things interesting for you guys because I know you frisky perverts like to mix it up. On top of the steer meat, we're gonna be cooking up something a little fresh. I'm talking about asparagi wrapped in swine meat. Yes, it's gonna be an interesting side dish. There's a few sides I'm okay with. Obviously, I prefer just straight steer.
Jesus died for people who participate in homosexual behavior.
I'd like you to know that the ones I'm okay with are basically bacon wrapped asparagi, mushrooms, potatoes, preferably the stoned or the baked kind, they say. Mashed is okay if they're fresh, not the bag shit.
Those wasn't no damn mashed potatoes, alright?
This is one of the girthiest fucking pieces of steer I've ever seen. It's a girthy fuck. Can you say girthy? Girthy.
To sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another.
Alright, so while I was seasoning up this steer with my salt, my pepper, and my garlic, I was kind of thinking about what to name this steer. Obviously, it's a New York strip. The fact that New York has a steak named after him in the first place is breathtaking. And I'm thinking one of the reasons is because New York is home to giants. And I'm not just talking about Eli Manning, the football player. I'm also talking about King Kong and Godzilla, star of the Matthew Broderick film.
They bought it.
Also, wait a second. There's one other giant from New York. Yeah, you're right. I'm talking about Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls. And since this is a juicy steak that has me pretty hypnotized, I think I'm gonna name this steak Wallace, after Christopher Wallace. New York is a pretty confusing place, but they sure got their meat right.
Super sexy slutty sexy slutty steaks.
Alright, step 5, now that you have your steer all ready to go, you're gonna wanna prep up the cooker. Now today we're gonna be going with an old classic, Le Castillon. Okay, so we're gonna wanna get it heated up and we're gonna wanna put a little butter and a little bit of oil on it to get it glistening and not so sticky. You don't wanna get sticky. It's kinda like getting covered in, I don't know, the inside of a Twinkie or Starburst melted on you.
Or maybe your cum doesn't look, I don't know, doesn't look like my cum.
Oh my God.
I feel like every dad should get their kid a cast iron when they turn 18. It just seems like the proper thing to do. All right, now obviously I'm mainly a beef and steer expert, but however, did you know there's not only regular swine meat, but there's also Canadian swine meat?
What is wrong with this picture?
Oh, how did that get there? Those kids.
All right, now before we throw our pal Wallace on the cooker, I thought I'd give you a couple fun facts about him. Number 1, he says his favorite Mighty Duck is Luis Mendoza. Number 2, well, that's all I really found out about him, so see you, pal. All right, now that you got your steer meat cooking up nice, you're gonna wanna preheat the oven for your side. Now you're gonna wanna go with the traditional 420 blaze it for temperature. Once it preheats, you're gonna throw the little asparagi in there.
Mom? of my bear? Your bear?
I got that fever every time I see ya. Sunshine bright, show a little skin. Love the way we vibin'.
You're gonna throw the little asparagi in there for about 10 to 11 minutes. What that is in metric, I'm not really sure, pals. Alright, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be having a side dish today. Now, step E is going to be preparing the swine wrapped asparagi. Now, you'll take this swine, and I apologize, Nick Serpentopoulos, this stuff is actually pretty good, and you'll take the asparagi. Now, the reason they call a pair of asparagus asparagi is because it looks like a pair of guys, kind of like a sword fight. You know, innuendo.
Now hold my hand when we dive in. Super sexy, slutty, sexy, slutty, slutty, sexy, slutty sticks.
Alright, so after about 4 minutes, you want to hit our pal Wallace here with the flip. I just did. And now what we're ready to do is throw the asparagi into the other cooker, which is, of course, the Dutch oven. Alright, you ready for this, pals? One of my favorite things about this show is it's a beautiful way for me to spread the message of the power of the steer. Now, I used to just go knocking door to door, asking people if they've accepted steer as their Lord and Savior, and I'd get a lot of weird responses.
Oh, good morning, boys.
Hi, we've come with good news.
Do you all believe in life?
Now, with Valentine's Day fast approaching, I've had a lot of you super sexy, slutty chefs reach out to me in the past few days. You've been saying, hey, at Robb Laffoon, do you have any advice for me to get that guy or gal or non-binary person to want to make sex with me? And I'm here to say yes. Yes, I do. In a segment I like to call LOL. That's right, Laws of Love. Now, the first law of love is, of course, communication. Communication is key. Second is mouth stuff. And not just mouth stuff, all the J's. BJ, RJ, HJ, AJ McLean. All important. And second, here's a hot one for you. If you're gonna float a cannoli pic to a gal, make sure it's not the best one you got. You don't want to send her a big veiny bastard next to a Dr. Pepper can. You want to send her one where it's not looking so hot. My advice is go outside, run around a bit, dip it in the snow like a Dairy Queen cone, and then head back on inside and send her a picture with some bad lighting. That way when she meets you in real life and she sees it, she says, hey, that's a really normal looking wiener.
Anything for a lady.
Alright, now step 4. I know you've heard this before, but never get high on your own supply. Now there's a hot one from our friend Wallace, eh?
Wandering Wallace takes a raunchy road trip up to the Great White North.
Isn't it a beautiful thing that two of nature's most mysterious and intelligent predators, the steer and the swine, can coexist not only on the ranch, but on your plate as well? It really shows the power of the steer. Now, I know this is a New York strip, but every 4 minutes, you're gonna wanna remember to hit this steak with the Flipadelphia. Look at that cooker cook. It's step 11. Now, obviously, he didn't get the name Notorious B.I.G. for nothing. So we're gonna take our pal Wallace and throw him in the second cooker. That's hot as fuck. You guys are doing really good following along at home this episode. I'm really proud of you. If I was there, I'd give you all a nice pat on the back and a kiss on the cheek. Hi there. Did you know that bird meat causes over 480,000 deaths per year? Did you also know that there's 7,000 chemicals found in bird meat, including 69 that are found to be cancerous, including arsenic and formaldehyde? I think we're reading off of the list of things in cigarettes. Okay. This just in. Bird meat contains cigarettes. Alright, you guessed it. Step 24 is going to be enjoying this meal that we procured and built up ourselves using our cookers. You'll see on the bottom here, you have 1.62 pounds of USDA prime New York strip, and on top, you have the swine wrapped asparagi. Let's dive in and experience this, shall we? In the words of an immortal New York band, hey ho, let's go eat some steer. Do me a favor, Joel. You know what's next. Crank up that virtual reality and fire up the flavor machine for these folks so they can taste this at home. Now look at this. It's cooked through perfectly. Now to quote the legendary group NSYNC, God must have spent a little more time on this steer.
God must have spent a little more time.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall.
That might be one of the best steers I've ever tasted. Why don't we try this bacon wrapped asparagus?
I let my tape rock till my tape pop.
Oh my fuck.
Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke?
Preston, you did it again. You know, steer obviously deservedly gets most of the attention, but swine is a pretty interesting animal to ingest. Help my fuck! I'm so happy we can enjoy these girthy boys together. It was all a dream. I used to read Steak World magazine, salt and pepper on my steer up in the limousine. Now, alright, I guess it's time for me to rate the cooking experience. Obviously, any steer meat I get from my pal Preston down at the Ralph's is gonna be 5-star classic, just like Ricky Steamboat vs. Macho Man, WrestleMania 3.
Pontiac, Michigan. Man!
Now, that being said, how about that swine wrapped asparagus, huh? Pretty interesting. A very diverse flavor for my taste palette, as they say. I will give this 4 stars. Now you're probably out there wondering, hey pal, what's up with the veggies? You going soft on us? I'm here to tell you veggies are okay, as long as it ain't fucking bird meat, right? Alright, all you super sexy slutty chefs out there, why don't you do me a little favor? Go ahead and like, go ahead and prescribe, go ahead and comment, and make sure you tell all your friends and family about your favorite show. This is a great experience we have every week, and I'd love it if we could share it with more people. And it's all up to you to pay it forward, Haley Joe Osment.
Somebody get to him before Kevin Spacey does.
Alright, don't forget, stay super, stay sexy, stay slutty, and stay safe. I'll see you next week. Fire up those.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack, Mr. Magic Molly Mall. I let my tapes rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock.
Now the cool thing about eating vegetables for a change is you can take the ones you don't finish and you can smoke them. That's why they call it the devil's lettuce.
Super sexy slutty steaks.
Let's not be doing it right. Help my help my help my help my help my help my help my